Hello, ladies. I am here today with someone that is very special to me, um, Elissa Sydor. She is someone that I have connected with over this past year who has so many wonderful gifts to share. And I wanted her to jump on this video with me today to share a tip that she has for creating more simplicity and ease during the holiday season. So thank you, Elissa, for being here with us today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a
Yeah,
beautiful community you have here.
thank you. Can you just briefly introduce yourself to the ladies so they have a little bit of info on your background and who you are so they know who they're listening to?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, I'm Elissa Sydor. I'm a holistic life coach. I'm also a yoga teacher and a Reiki practitioner. And I am excited to be here with you today to show you some of my favorite tips and rituals that I use to get through the holiday season, to keep it simple and sane and to stay in really mindful connection with my family and my kids. So, yeah, it's a little bit about me.
Perfect. Thank you, Elissa. All right. So share with the women, what is one tip that you have, or maybe more, whatever you want to share, that will help them to create more simplicity and ease?
Yeah, so the one tip, if I could summarize it, would be that self-care is the most important gift you can give yourself for the holidays, and saying yes to yourself. And I'll share with you the rituals and practices that I use in my life to do that. I'm also a mother of two kids. I've got a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. And when my daughter was 6 months old, we moved to Germany, where my son was born, and we had been traveling internationally every 6 months since they were born. So we are a busy family, and we're constantly on the go. And somewhere along the line during those first few visits from Germany home with my babies, I realized that when I was traveling during the holidays, my self-care was not even on the list of things to do. And so whether I'm home for the holidays or I'm traveling, there are so many other things to do that take up our time and call our attention, that if we don't put self-care on the top of the list and we're not participating in the holidays with a full cup, it's not that enjoyable. At least it wasn't for me. And so there came a point, I think it was my third international trip with my kids, where I just realized I was exhausted. I wasn't sleeping. We had jet lag. I wasn't eating the foods that I normally ate. I wasn't doing any of my yoga practices, none of my spiritual practices. All of that was just kind of out the window while we were traveling. And we would travel sometimes for 3.5 weeks. And what I found was I was completely depleted by the time I got back from those visits, and hardly engaged at all in love and connection the way I wanted to be with my family and friends that I had gone home and spent all this money and energy to go visit. And it just wasn't enjoyable, or it wasn't, it was obviously lovely to see the people, but I wasn't energetically present, and I wasn't, I was just exhausted. So it was difficult. So I decided that had to change. And so now for the last 6 years, I've been really practicing and fine tuning these techniques that I'm going to share with you. And I'm really excited to share them with you. And I hope that they benefit you. I use them when I travel or when I have people in my home, but I'm going to share with you today my travel kit. All right, do you want me to just jump right in there, Kate?
Yeah, please. Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
All right, so this is what I call my joy bag. And
I love it.
I know, right? It's so fun. It's one of my favorite things. And it really starts with setting an intention for myself going into whatever for me, it's typically travel, right? So I'm traveling on the 27th to go see my family for the holidays. We're scheduling Christmas 2 days late because that allows my kids to stay in their pajamas during the holidays, and for us to have the 26th available to us to just relax and be together, my kids and my husband. And so we have a nice relaxed Christmas here with Santa Claus, and he's not coming with us on the trip, right? We've tried that, and that was not, that didn't feel relaxing or enjoyable. So we're leaving on the 27th, and I have already set the intention for myself this trip that I want to be in deep love and connection with my family. And so that is my intention. And so this whole joy bag is designed around that intention. And each time I travel, the intention sometimes shifts, but that is mine for this year. So the first thing I recommend is to set an intention, and then the bag is designed to remind you of that intention and to put that intention into daily practice. So what I usually do is just grab a cosmetic bag. So through the years it changes. Any cosmetic bag that you have will work. The free ones you get from, purchases or whatever. It doesn't have to be fancy. This one was from Walgreens, and it just had a little glitter and was fun, and says lovely things. So that was a fun one. But for this trip, I'm finding that I need a little bit of a bigger size. So I had an old Clarins bag that I got from my last purchase, and it's got some glitter and it's kind of fun. And so that is the bag I'm bringing home today. So you can buy one or just use one that you have, but it should be something that is about that size, and it just kind of makes you feel happy, right? And so then I take that intention that I set for myself and I write it on a card. And so my intention is here. It's love and connection. And then these are all of the practices that I'm going to commit to practicing every day while I'm away and traveling. And this card goes in the bedroom where I sleep so that I see it every day. And reminds me that I've made that commitment to myself and that I hold it as a priority. So that's how I start with the kit. I don't know if you have any questions on that before I go into it.
No, that's beautiful. I love the bag too.
Yeah, right? So it's so fun. And this is just an old note card that I had. A friend of mine actually sent me this one. And I loved the sparkly. So for the holidays, I picked the sparkly things I had. Okay.
I do like that you set the intention first, because I think when we do set the intention, it's more likely to happen. As we've put it out there that that's what we desire. So
right.
I really like that practice.
Mm-hmm. And that's the way I desire to feel, right? In deep love and connection with my family, and not exhausted and overwhelmed.
I want to just clarify what you said. This is how I want to feel. Like, you're setting the intention of how you want to feel during this holiday trip. Beautiful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that is the whole purpose for this bag. How do I want to feel? Do I want to feel exhausted and overwhelmed and overcommitted and scattered? Or do I want to feel full of energy, present, and in real deep connection with my kids and my parents and my siblings and all their kids and all of those people around me, right? So before I jump into, I guess, the bag, the other two things that just popped to mind as we talked about that is that I've learned with my traveling is also this idea of saying yes to myself includes things around self-care, such as keeping to my schedule, a schedule that works for my energy level, not overcommitting and saying yes to every single thing you're invited to, or trying to find ways to say yes that include people in a way that feels good to you. So I now have a brunch with all of my girlfriends from high school and a brunch with all of my girlfriends from college, instead of trying to see each one of them individually. Things like that. So just like scheduling wise, thinking about your schedule and what works for you, and trying to make sure that you fit in that quality time in a way that's not depleting you. So for me, like, that had to be looks like having a bedtime. I need to be upstairs and in bed by 11 p.m. Even as engaging as the conversation might be. And I could talk till 2 a.m. many nights, but I physically can't do that. So I need to start earlier in the day and end on time. So that's one that I had to put in place for myself. And then the food, right? That was another thing for me. So now I make sure that, all of the food that's available does not necessarily mean that that's the food you typically eat. And I used to eat to be polite. I don't know if that resonates with any of you, but eating food that's presented to me just to be polite was something that I did all the time. And it didn't make my body feel good. So now I can gracefully decline, and I pack with me a Thermomix, a Thermomix. It's like a Vitamix thing. And I make my green smoothies with me wherever I go. So I can feel good in my body physically and do those things that make me feel good. So taking care of yourself in many ways. So physically, as well as with intentions and affirmations, and spiritually, which we'll talk about in a minute. Okay, so that's the kind of before you're traveling planning. And then in the bag, I include some really practical things. I include just things that make me feel comfortable. So I bring my morning tea and my nighttime tea, so I don't have to do any shopping when I get to where I land. Those are right there for me. I also have them on the plane. I take this bag with me on the plane as well, so that it's with me. I don't have to go digging through my luggage. It's all right there and easy for me. And then also for the plane, I just bring a little hand sanitizer and some moisturizer. It's like a hand cream, and I put some essential oils in there. And I do this for a couple reasons. So the hand sanitizer, obviously, it's a plane, and I travel with 2 kids, so I'm constantly wiping down the tray tables and cleaning hands and things like that. And then the hand cream with essential oils is it's a little bit of just pampering myself on the plane. You know, I want to enjoy the journey and try and stay calm and peaceful as I'm going with my 2 kids, and they're a little older now, so it's a bit easier. But if you travel with kids, you know what I mean. The plane is, you know, you need to do what you can to support yourself. And one thing that I've learned about essential oils is that the sense of smell that we have actually goes to the place in the brain that registers emotions, which I just learned that in the past year. So now I understand why I've liked them so much in one way. But so it's that sense of smell, which you probably can remember from like childhood smells and cooking and things like that. But that sense of smell triggers emotions in our brain. And so this is like a nice peace and calming blend, and a little bit and it makes me happy, right? So that smell just brings me to a place that my body now remembers. And so it can help me to just feel calm and happy. And so I bring that with me. And then I also just bring like a nice lip balm and a lip gloss, so I can just pamper myself a little bit. Okay, so that's the stuff that I use on the plane and practically. And then to get into the rituals, I was really happy. I don't know if any of your ladies are doing the holiday challenge.
I am not sure. I hope so.
Okay, so I'll just explain really quickly then. So Carrie and I are participating in a holiday challenge, and there are lots of speakers that come on, and they're giving us their best tips for the holiday season too. So 2 of those tips I pulled from the speakers this week. So I just want to acknowledge them and where I got that, because I really wanted some powerful practices this trip home, because as you know, my dad is not well. And so this trip home is sort of a very, it's a tender and sensitive time. And I really think self-care is going to be even extra important with an ailing parent. And so these 2 practices that they offered in that holiday challenge this week felt really, really in alignment for me, and they felt really strong and powerful. And so I'm bringing these 2 with me as 2 of my practices. And the first one is one called soul gazing. And Cora Poj is the one who talks about that in more detail. If you want to learn more about it, she's the one that offered me this tip. And so I'll share with you how I interpreted it and how I'll be using it during my holidays. But it's called soul gazing. And soul gazing is this idea that when you are in connection with another person, your intention is really to see them, not just see them physically, but to try and see beyond that through the eyes. So actually connecting eye to eye and soul gazing and looking into their eyes to connect at a deeper level, to really try and see the soul essence of that person. So that was a beautiful offering for Cora to share with us, and one that I will be practicing with my family when I go home. And so it's looking at that soul. And then so when it's a very loving interaction, that's nice and easy, right? But then she also offered it when you're with somebody who's triggering, or if there's a difficult conversation, and how you can also use that tool to try and stay in loving connection with that person, even if it's a difficult moment. And that was the newer tip for me, and one that I'll have a chance to practice perhaps when I go home. But it's about when you're feeling triggered or feeling upset, or it's a difficult conversation, trying to gaze into the soul of the 5-year-old version of the person you're looking at. And I thought that was really powerful. So to remember what their essence was as a 5-year-old, and to connect from there. So that's my first practice that I'll be practicing as I go through my 2 weeks at home with my family, is trying to view them through that lens of soul gazing. And so I'm excited to see how that deepens our connection. And I've been practicing it with my kids this week too. And so it's really fun with the kids, because I think kids are naturally good at soul gazing. I just think they are. So you can practice that one with your kids too anytime. Okay, so that's my first practice. And then the second one was from Danielle Laporte, and it's practice gratitude. I just have them written down here. So each day I'll read these and remember them to practice them. And that's practicing gratitude with specificity. And so it's the not only being grateful, but the grateful plus the why is how she describes it. And so I'm grateful for my mom for teaching me how to make my grandma's cookies so that I could teach my daughter how to make my grandma's cookies, right? So that's one that I will say to her when I'm home with her. And that's a feel-good one, right? So just to reflect that back to her, we've always made the cookies. It's been a thing, but do we talk about it? Do I recognize it? Have I offered her that gratitude so specifically? Maybe not. But my daughter gets so much joy out of the fact that she's rolling grandma's same snowball cookies, you know? And so to share that back with her with that specificity was a really nice offering from Danielle. And then again, she talked about with the triggering, because again, we're traveling for 2 weeks. It's a smaller space. We're out of our element with a lot of people, busy time of year. I don't know about you ladies, if you ever find in those situations people get triggered. But if that happens to you, her offering, which I am happy to have in my back pocket going home, is that you can offer gratitude for that person for something that maybe isn't so deep, but maybe something a little bit more superficial. And the example she used was if your annoying cousin comes over, or somebody who just really, you know, aggravates you, or just, you know, you're feeling, having a hard time finding something to be grateful for, you can do something superficial. And she was saying, like, be grateful for, or I am grateful for the fact that you're a stylish dresser, or that you bring the cranberry sauce. And that if you can practice offering gratitude specifically to somebody in that kind of a situation, that you can find those edges within yourself to soften and to maybe start to shift your perception and open to seeing them maybe in a different light, and to allowing a little bit more of their true essence and some of the good things that you can be grateful for into your awareness. And so that seemed like a beautiful offering, and one I'll be practicing too. And then the last one is to just maintain my self-care rituals. And so I wrote on my card, I want to do 20-minute meditations, use my essential oils, and stay committed to my self-care and the commitments that I've made to myself. And during those meditations, I like to practice an affirmation that I am worthy of happiness and joy. And that is the one that I work with often. This year has been calling in more joy, because it's been a difficult year for me and my family. Despite my life circumstances and despite what's going on around me, joy is always accessible to me, and I'm always worthy of joy. And so that has been a very nourishing practice for me this year. And so that's my personal practice that I'm going to be taking with me, and I'll be practicing every day. And so that's just 10 or 20 minutes a day, but it's 10 or 20 minutes that I need. And I think this is the sort of the core of supporting my emotional well-being and my energetic well-being while I'm away. And it's really not that hard to do. It's 10 to 20 minutes. And for me, what that looks like is, as I bring my phone with me and I put on some music. If I'm feeling really tired, I can just lie down with some music and an eye pillow and relax for 10 or 20 minutes, and just put my hand on my heart and offer myself some love and some compassion and some space to just bring myself back to center. So that when I take that time to really recharge, when I reconnect with the people that are around me, I can do it in a way that is much more present. And I can give and receive so much more. So just taking that 20 minutes, if I'm feeling really tired, that's the least I can do. And if I'm feeling like maybe I'm overwhelmed or stressed, or taking on energy that is not mine, or around any kind of energy that doesn't feel good to me, and I need to kind of clear anything, release anything that doesn't belong to me, and come back to my own center and my own intuitive wisdom, I will do a practice where I will sit just cross-legged and not lie down. And I bring with me 2 crystals. This one is for citrine, and this one absorbs anything that no longer serves me, or anything that I'm ready to release. This is what I use this crystal for. And then the rose quartz is for just replenishing my own self-love. And then, so I bring these two with me, and I just use them in my meditations, and keep them with me. And, yeah, and then I use an essential oil, which is frankincense, which I find is very versatile, and you can use for, yeah, any of those situations. So it's the one oil. I can't take all my oils with me. So I take this one because it's multi-purpose. So whether it's grounding and calming that I need, whether it's getting in touch with my intuition, and really just looking internally if I'm looking for clarity, or just remembering what my intentions were for myself, or to listen to my body and ask my body, what is it that I need in this moment? This is the ritual I practice. So it's just sitting again in that meditative state, listening to some music, 10 or 20 minutes. And sometimes it's 10 minutes twice a day, and sometimes it's 20 minutes in the middle of the day, whatever it is. But it just gives me that space to really come back to center, and some tools and rituals that support me in doing that. And so that's what I do when I travel for the holidays.
Lisa, I just wanted to say that these are beautiful practices that you have. And I know a lot of the moms are, including myself, we're busy. It's a busy time of year. And what I wanted to highlight what you said at the beginning about filling your cup up. Like, I think, that is the message that really is resonating with me, and I'm hearing in what you said today, that we really need to fill our cup up, so that we can, be in loving connection with the people around us, especially during this time when we're around so much family. Like, this is a perfect opportunity to experience those feelings, that may or may not be what, you choose to experience. I mean, that's what you shared, but it's a beautiful intention for this time of year, and making the time for yourself. Like, just like you said, you offered a number of different ways that we can do that for ourselves. So hopefully they can take some, if not all, of what you shared today and implement some of these things, especially over the next few days. And even next week, as we prepare for the new year, the end of the year celebration, and just, setting intentions for ourselves as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I really appreciate that, all the information you shared today. These tips are awesome. I love them.
Yeah, and I just want to share one more tip, because, the joy bag for me is great. I have all these things in my house, right? So I can easily throw this together. But if you don't have those things, or you're, you just want something quick and super, super easy, another way to do it is to just take extra long showers, right? Mm. Take a few more minutes washing your hands and use a nice lotion, right? It doesn't have to be complicated. Like the lip balm thing is so easy, but just taking a few more minutes to just physically take care of yourself and have some quiet time. So if the meditation doesn't feel like it works for you quite yet, take a long shower, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have a cup of tea by yourself, something where you can just come back to your center.
I love it. And I also want to just point out that you brought up the relationship piece that comes up during the holidays. And I love that you shared Danielle Laporte's challenge to see, was it Danielle's, or
the soul gazing, or
the soul gazing, like looking at that person, having gratitude. Actually, both of them had a relationship piece to it, both Cora's and Danielle's, and just, soul gazing with, the people that you're talking with during the holidays. Like, I would just observe that, like, practice it, play with it a little bit, and see how your family and friends, or whoever you're, spending the holidays with, how they respond to that kind of attention, that connection. It's a deeper connection, a presence that you bring to the relationship. So observe how that might, have an effect on the relationship. And also the gratitude, everybody needs their cup filled up, and we don't always honor taking that time for ourselves. So you're here listening to this video and watching it, and you might be more likely to, I'm speaking to the women that are watching, to put these practices in place. But think about, Aunt Flo that might be there, who might not be doing that, or Uncle John, or your cousin, or your mom or dad, or whoever, and they might not be setting those intentions or putting those practices into place. So their cup might be, just have a little bit in it. And so they might be in a reactive or defensive place. But if you give them that gratitude, like say something that you're grateful for and fill them up a bit, how that will change the effect on the relationship and what happens next. So you can really be powerful during the holidays in doing something like that, to change your relationships for the better during this time. So I love that you brought up that relationship piece, because I really haven't talked a whole lot about that in the group. So I'm grateful to you for bringing that up today. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's and to me, so when I set the intention about being in deep love and connection, it's about the relationships, right? So
yes,
I want to spend the holidays in relationship to the people that I love the most. And I want to create the best experience that I can for myself. And that has an effect on those around you. Yeah. So.
Awesome. So Lisa, I want to honor the women's time because I know they're all busy. Is there anything that you'd like to share quickly before we end our conversation today?
I guess I would just want to remind the women again that, self-care is not an act of selfishness. It actually, the more we give to ourselves, the more we can give to our kids. And I think we all know that on one level, but at this time of year when there's so many demands on our time that we have to really be conscious about making that time. And so, I guess I would just want to remind the women out there that they have permission to do that. And it's not only a gift to yourself, but a gift to your kids and your family as well.
Absolutely. You're better able to be present and serve them, but they're also modeling for them to honor their own needs and take care of themselves. So that's beautiful. And I believe you do a care package for your kids as well, a travel pack for them as well.
I do. We do a similar thing for my kids. I don't know if we have time to go into that or not. Okay. But we could do that another time, or do you want to hear about it quickly?
If you can share about it briefly, would you be able to do that? Okay.
Yeah, so I do the same thing for my kids. It's essentially the same thing. We actually use it as part of their everyday nighttime routine, but it comes with us because it's such a big part of their lives. And I'll just show you really quickly. I have my son's here. So this is my son's. He actually has a treasure chest. So in the treasure chest, and there's a few different things that they have in there, but I put all of the things in there for them that I wanted them to learn for self-care. And then they put in some things of their own. So he put in a picture of me and him at the Rainforest Cafe. He put a little fidget toy in there for him to play with at night when he just doesn't want to fall asleep quite yet, and a fidget spinner. But that's not the intention of the box. Those are just his additions. But what I give my kids in the box, and I'll just show you the two easiest, quickest things that I'll share, are they also have their own crystals, and they also get a guardian angel. So when I gave them each their box 2 years ago, I gave them each, it's a little guardian angel with a little guardian angel poem, just so that they know that they have a guardian angel watching over them. And they have loved that. So they have that over their bed, and they that has to come with us in the suitcase, right? Because it's part of their nighttime routine. So they have that, and then they have 2 crystals. And they love these crystals too, and then an essential oil on their eye pillow. So they have those little things, and that's part of our nightly routine. They use one crystal as, like, I don't know if you know what a worry stone is, or a worry box. Sometimes they use that in therapy, but it's this stone absorbs any worries that they have. Any worries we shrink down and talk about until they're small enough to fit into here, and then they magically disappear and are released into the universe as clean energy. And this is what they call their remembering stone. And anything that they're proud of goes in this stone, and this one is bigger than the little one. So all of the things they're proud of or that they feel good about themselves go into this stone, and any worries go in here and get disappeared. And so they use these stones all the time. And so these are, for us traveling to go home to see the family, especially with my dad being ill, I feel like we're going to be using the worry stone quite a bit. And yeah, just having that ritual for them too, it's teaching them the self-care at a young age, ways to cope, ways to deal with these feelings, to clear their energy, to calm down, to feel protected and loved and safe. And so that's the intention behind those boxes. My daughter has one with a pretty little ballerina on it. It's a little music box. He has the treasure chest. But, again, it's just a little set of tools to teach the kids self-love, because that is so important even for kids in this world that's busy and stressful, and all the pressures that they have, Carrie.
You have I'm like, my eyes are welling up in tears. It just warms me to hear all these. You have such beautiful rituals that you do with your children and for yourself, and I'm so glad that you were able to share some of those with us today, because to the ladies that are watching, I mean, this is what simplicity is about, like creating that slowdown, that connection. Simplicity parenting is really about connecting with the children, but for me, it's evolved for me into slowing down and taking care of ourselves, so that we are more present for our children, and having these rhythms and these rituals in place help to deepen those connections with one another. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Envisioning your kids sharing these beautiful ritual at night time, and the connection that you're creating with them, and that slowdown from this busy, chaotic and stress days that they have, especially if they're school age and going to school and the activities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So thank you, Elissa, for sharing all of this with us.
You're welcome. I'm happy to.
Yeah. So, Elissa, if the ladies that are watching want to connect with you more, and get in touch with you, how could they do so?
Yeah, so I have a website. My business is called Innately Healed, and my website is just innatelyhealed.com. Or you can also email me at info@innatelyhealed. And I'm also on Facebook, and it's Elissa Sydor. It's Elissa, and the last name is Sydor. And you can reach out to me any of those ways, and I would love to talk to any of you further.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm going to put all your information in the comments below so that they have easy access to that. And also, ladies, if you have any questions or just want to add to the conversation, anything that you want to share, please share them in the comments. Elissa is in the group as well, and she is available in the group, being part of this intention of creating simplicity and ease with all of us this holiday season. So thank you for listening. Thank you, Elissa, again.
Thank you. It's beautiful to be part of your community. It's been really nice to see all the tips and the conversation in this group, and to get to know all of you. So thank you.
You're welcome. Wonderful. All right, ladies, happy holidays. Bye-bye.
Happy holidays.